Welcome to the Jann Arden podcast and show. What a special day it is. It snowed again here in southern Alberta. I was in Vancouver talking to Jane Goodall. It was very, very exciting. We'll talk about that later. And I thought, gosh, it's such a nice afternoon. It was 4 p.m. It was like 14 degrees here yesterday, and I took all the covers off of my patio furniture. And when I woke up this morning, I literally gasped this morning because there was just snow everywhere, and it really looks like Christmas. I can't even tell you. Listen, enough of me moaning about the weather. I really sound like a very, very old person. I just want to say hello to Caitlin and Sarah, who are here in there. Where are you guys? You're in your humble abodes, aren't you?
That's right.
Yes, you are.
As always in Toronto.
As always in Toronto. And I'm west of Calgary. And today we've got a really, really great guest. I really love this woman. She makes me laugh my goddamn head off. I like anybody whose ethical, moral compass, whose political savvy kind of aligns with my own. And I think we all look to find those voices in and amongst all the noise that's going on social media. You may already follow today's guest. I have a sneaking suspicion you might, because she's about to or has already cracked 1 million followers. I can't even fathom what that is like. We're going to talk to her about that. One of Canada's fastest growing digital voices. And she breaks down really big topics like using wit, humor to tackle anything political. I think serves everybody well, because God, if we can't laugh at this stuff, I don't know what. So she's dealing with a lot of politics right now. Obviously, the upcoming election that is April the 28th. And she is working on a new show. And I love this title, What the Elle? So please welcome Elle James, a.k.a. Shameless Elle, to the Jann Arden podcast. Good day.
Good day. Oh my goodness, what an introduction.
Oh, well, gosh, you deserve it.
Oh, thank you. I very much appreciate that coming from someone like you.
So I don't even know how you found the time to be with us today, because anybody that knows creating a reel, creating content, and especially creating content on a consistent basis, making sure that it's great, making sure that you're always, focused on doing funny things, doing informative things. It's a lot more work than people think. So how do you find the time to do all this stuff? And on top of it, you are a single mom.
I am. Yes, I have 2 boys, and most of my life is driving them from basketball practices to basketball games. But no, I own my own business, and so that gives me a lot of freedom to set my schedule around content creation. This has become more my main income at this point. A little bit less since talking about politics, a little bit less, but you know what? I feel good about what I'm doing, and I'm proud to do that. And I mean, no matter how busy I was going to make time to be on the Jann Arden podcast.
Well, it looks like you really enjoy it, Elle. Like, it looks like you always kind of have that glint in your eye. Your stuff looks great. I think you do such a great job of curating the things that you're going to talk about. I love the fact I have learned a lot from you, because sometimes I think, God, I've made up my mind for myriad reasons. I try and keep on top of what the policies are, what's going on, what the different parties are, thinking about doing with our country economically and socially and environmentally. But you really break it down in a way that it's fantastic. And I know it takes you a lot of time.
It does. It takes me a lot of time, but I started making content about politics for people like me. I've never voted in my life. This will
Really?
No, I've never voted. I grew up in a home that just wasn't very political, and it never seemed important. It never was something that we talked about. And I never felt like Canada was at risk of being taken over by the States. And so I guess I just never paid any attention. And then the Donald Trump Kamala election happened, and I was so invested in it. It was just all over my feed, and I watched everything. I really thought Kamala was going to win, and then I was so devastated. I cried when she didn't win, and I just couldn't believe that she didn't. And then every day after that was more depressing than the next. And that made me really start paying attention and starting to see the similarities between Donald Trump and Pierre Poilievre. And I got more and more concerned. And that's when I just threw everything I was doing to the wayside, because I thought this is more important right now. And so I started trying to learn about politics, and I didn't understand. So I had to study for like hours to try and figure it out. And then I'd ask ChatGTP to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And now that's what I do, is I break it down so that it's easier, so that it's easy to digest, and something that people can take in a couple of minutes. And that's what I do.
Sarah, you had your hand in the air for Elle. I'm going to give the floor. I'm going to hand that over to you, Sarah Burke. You have a question for.
You just kind of glazed over the part, like, you were saying that until you started posting about politics, things were kind of good financially. Did you get a big blowback? What happened there?
So actually, I have more support than ever from. It's you don't get a lot of interaction from mediocre opinions. Okay, so putting out comedy and just being silly, you get a lot of people sending, laughy emojis, and they enjoy you, but they're not invested. Yeah, they're not invested, right? When you start to put very controversial opinions out there, when you start to fight for politics, you will get people that hate you, that will vehemently try to defame you and
Jan knows
bring
all
you
about
down.
this.
Yes. And then you'll get people that love you so dearly and just are so proud. And it is these two very opposite. So I was used to having this very like middle of the road kind of,
sitting on the fence almost a little bit.
Well, just like happy to see you. And then they scroll past. Whereas now people are either very invested and very proud and sharing my name as something to, be recognized in Canada. And then there's people that, hate me and want to, want to attack me. So that part has actually grown. My accounts have grown. They've grown exponentially over the last couple months. But as far as my videos would go to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, when I was doing comedy, because it was an easy interaction. It was an easy it was an easy share. Now it way less. Way less. So I make a lot less money. But the funny thing is that the people that love me have shown up in droves and sent me money and just wanting to support. They go on to buy me a coffee and send me a couple $100 from one person. It's wild. So yes, I definitely have taken a huge loss financially from speaking about politics, but doing something that's good is not always expedient or profitable.
But I think it's important to state your opinions really boldly, especially as a woman. And like you said, you've never voted before. It doesn't surprise me. I think apathy, as we have learned, and Al, you certainly learned this from the election in the United States, you have to imagine 75, 85 million people did not vote in that country. In fact, It was probably more, they're thinking. So, and you wonder what the outcome would have been if people would have been assumptive, wouldn't have been, and said, oh, Kamala's going to win. There's no way no one can vote for that. And Caitlin has made very good points about this, about the mistakes that the Harris campaign made, the Democrats made. And it was eye-opening for me, Caitlin, when you spoke about it. Like, they made a lot of mistakes. They obviously disenfranchised a lot of angry young men that were really tired of the narrative, and not just them, but maybe Caitlin, you can speak to that. I know you have questions for Elle too, and I want to be fair because we were all very excited to have you here.
I also feel a little bit now too, like I think, research in the moment is hard, and then you get some hindsight, which is always 2020. But I kind of feel like in much the same way that Chrystia Freeland, who was like on with us before, she was never going to get the leadership nomination, I think, because she didn't have the same level of support within the party as Mark Carney does. But I also think she was going to kind of have the Trudeau scent on her a little bit, and with his approval ratings being how they were. And that's not dissimilar to what was happening with Joe Biden's administration and any incumbent administration that was coming in after the lockdowns and COVID, like around the world on any side of the equation. If you were kind of like the incumbent party, you were typically dealing with really low popularity. So I feel like Chrystia wasn't going to make it through. And that's what I think kind of also like bit Kamala in the end, is like your proximity to what was a very unfavorable outgoing administration. But I do feel a little bit like, is it strange for you to be a woman sort of occupying a highly political space? Because there is just a different tone, a different level of vitriol and sort of language that I see used towards women when they speak up about politics than with men. I mean, men get called idiots and all this stuff, but you see some creators share DMs they've received and threats they've received. And I feel like there's a different level of intimidation attempts happening for women who do talk about this.
This is very true. I get emails every day from women saying, you know, how do you stand up against this? Because I just shared a post and I got so much hate and so much this. And truthfully, it sat me down. You know, when I first posted about politics, I lost, I think, 7,000 people overnight, and I just had so much hate so quickly. And I just sat back and I was like, is this what I want? Like, is this really what I'm up for? Is this what I want to deal with? But I didn't feel funny either. I didn't feel like I could just, you know, make my silly little posts and ignore what was going on in the world. I didn't think that I could look my friends, you know, in the eye, that many of them are immigrants, and say I did nothing. I said nothing. With a platform as large as mine, I just sat by and watched and made my silly videos and, you know, let that possibly happen to them the way it's happening in the States. And I sat back for about 3 days and I just listened to Maya Angelou over and over and over again, and heard her tell me, you know, courage is the most important virtue, because without courage, you cannot consistently be good. You cannot consistently be kind. You can't consistently practice any of the virtues without courage. And so I just kept trying to listen to that over and over. And then I just went for it. And I just said, you know, I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to be quiet, because that's exactly what they want.
Exactly.
They want women to be quiet, and women need to stand up. They need to.
I'm
use
told
their voice.
that on a consistent basis, Elle.
Yeah,
I'm told that on consistent. You know, when you have that kind of vitriol coming at you, when people are making physical threats, when they're calling you, the stupid people always resort to physical slurs. They, you know,
Yes.
whether you're fat or ugly or you bitch or this. I mean, we could go on and on about what they're capable of. And they take the stuff out of the same bag. Like, it's the most boring insults in the world. It's like, you guys are, you have no grammar skills. You can't fucking spell. And we've heard this all before. Like, at least get clever with your insults. You know, I had a friend of mine say to me once, you know, you're on the right track. If you have people that unfollow you for an opinion, you're on the right track, because you don't want those people trailing around with you through life anyway. They're doing you a huge favor. But I think when we monetize likes and when we monetize followers, and when we think about our worth in those terms, and the girls and I talk about this constantly, about measuring our value against people following us or hitting those hearts or making comments. It's a dangerous place to be. So how do you kind of manage those expectations with who you are as a young woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, a business owner, of treading that line carefully and knowing your worth without that?
No, I mean, I was very lucky to have people even think I was funny. I never I never thought of myself as funny. I was just
You're
bored.
hilarious.
Well, thank you.
You're absolutely hilarious. You're so dry, and your timing is fantastic. And you have that click, click, boom kind of humor. It really is it's smart. You're very smart. And I think you have to be smart to be funny. I just think that.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that. I just was bored, you know. I get bored easily, and I've done a lot of very odd jobs in my life because I'm bored and I want to do something. So I'm never good with just sitting and not having some new project or doing something different. And this has really tapped into a place that gave me this outlet to just vomit my opinions and my, you know, weird thoughts all over the world. And strangely enough, people liked it, which was kind of cool.
And you seem surprised by that, Elle. You're sitting, I'm
was.
looking at you, and you seem absolutely gobsmacked by the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and like you said, it's growing exponentially, and every day you wake up and it's more. I have to ask you about the stuff that you've done with Clara Batten.
Oh, yes, please.
Clara is a UK creator. She's very funny. When you started doing impersonations of her with the straw, like doing the weave and trying to get the straw in your mouth, and then her sort of responses back to you and challenging each other, and
the fact that I'm only 6,000 behind you on TikTok, I think it's pretty even. I think either one of us could hit the million first, but of course nobody's saying it's a race. Nobody's saying that.
Oh, 6,000 behind. And the rest. Oh, bless you. Shameless Elle, 815.1. Right. Clara Batten, 820. Doesn't matter. Who's counting? Not me. It's not a race to 1 million. Sister.
Can you talk about that a little bit? I really love Clara, and I think the two of you are two of my favorite follows on TikTok.
Clara and actually Single Mom Saga, I don't know if you know her, we ended up becoming friends because people pitted us against each other. So anyway, we just ended up appreciating each other, and we were tired. We were tired of people accusing us of copying, so we started making videos together. We have a group chat where we talk daily, and Single Mom Saga just won a bunch of awards at the Cheer Choice in Vegas, and we're all so happy for each other. We very much support each other, and we just don't see why people can't understand that there's room to love all of us.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun.
Sort of to that point, one thing I feel like on that public figures deal with on the social media side, in addition to the vitriol and everything else, is kind of these weird parasocial relationships, where some people feel like they really, really know you. And because you are naturally, obviously, a sharer and you get a lot out of it, and you've stepped into this public-facing creative space, how do you balance the people who maybe cross the line, albeit at times harmlessly, but like who think they really, really know you? Like, does that ever make you uncomfortable, or is that ever difficult to manage? Because I feel like it would weird me out.
When you say like when they cross the line, like what do you mean by example?
I mean parasocial, like as in, I think sometimes people have what they imagine to be a real friendship or a real relationship with someone that they follow or with someone that they listen to on the radio.
In the grocery store?
Yes. I've sent you something. Can I have your address? Do you want to come to dinner with myself and my wife? These are things I've been asked, and I worked in Canadian radio. So I would imagine on your scale, do you get like weird dinner invites? How do you say no? Like, what the heck do you do?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that stuff does happen. Sometimes it's just being honest. When I really think that they're a good person and I just want to tell them like, hey, thank you, I appreciate you. However, meeting a stranger that I know nothing about would be quite odd for me. Sometimes I just ignore them, and mostly now I don't answer DMs at all, because the problem is like
I know,
when you
I've been sending like 5 or 6 or 7 to you every day. Like I don't know why you don't want to come to the casserole thing at my church. It's so weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought I'd have a chance to ask you when you came on the podcast today about that.
I was about to email you. I was waiting for the ninth message. Yeah. I can't do the DMs anymore because once.
How do you keep up with DMs? It's freaking overwhelming.
No, I just turn them off.
Those little blue dots on Instagram, people are like, and then they'll send it in the comments, I've DM'd you. Have you ever gone on a date through the platform?
No.
Okay, that's so interesting. I was dying to ask you that.
No, I would never go on a date with anybody. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's lying. There's one guy.
Ladies and gentlemen,
shoot your shot. Who is it?
Well, I can't say. I can't say, but there is someone that I talk to, regularly, and he's quite interesting. But I only date people that don't live in my country because I'm not actually ready to date. So this man does not live in Canada, and he's just so funny. He's so funny and so genuine, and we made a real connection.
$20,000 to help his sister finish nursing
He does
school.
not. No.
Okay,
no.
thank God.
He's a content creator.
It's really interesting to watch it unfold. And it's like you said, Caitlin, just the familiarity that people have with each other. Honest to God, that at least once a day, if I go into town, if not twice, if not 4, People are like, I rode up in an elevator with you in 98. You had on a blue shirt. My son was with me, and you told him that he looked so adorable because his shoes lit up. Do you remember that? The stories are so specific, but it's that whole thing about feeling like you know someone. And Caitlin, you and Sarah, you guys have both been in the media for a long time. Surely to God, you do have people coming up to you going, I watched the podcast. I noticed that you got new glasses, and you and I have our periods at the same time. I just figured that out. Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. Like, I think it's unavoidable, you know, and it is always just something that I just find it to be a new kind of like a new social dilemma. Like, it's a new form of sort of antisocial behavior. And I just it's interesting because I think there probably does need to be some classes in school about it. Like, hey, this is how you interact with a creator if you see them in real life, or don't DM this, because people don't know and it's new, but people feel like they really know you, and you like live in their phone. They're like, you're my phone best friend. Of course I'm going to tell you way too much about my life and you don't know me.
I thought it was so funny that I had to share this with you. So I was cutting my client's hair the other day, and I tell her, I said, actually, I'm going to be on the Jann Arden podcast. And she goes, no. And I'm like, I am. And she's like, my mother is so in love with Jann. I bought a Cameo from Jann. And she brings up the Cameo and she shows me this the Cameo is like 5 minutes long. You were so
she's an overachiever.
Unbelievable. You gave this incredible birthday message. You fucking sang Good Mother. You like and then I realized I'm ripping people off. Like I've been ripping people off this whole time. They're getting like a minute and a half of me like, oh, thanks, yeah. And here's Jann, you know, this Canadian icon spending 5 minutes singing and wishing like the most beautiful birthday wishes. Like, it was incredible.
I enjoy them, Elle. Thanks for bringing that up. I donate all the money, and we've been able to help animals like all over the world, which is really cool. And much like you, I was kind of sitting there just when 2020 COVID's kind of happening and my tour was canceled. The whole world stopped. And then someone had mentioned the Cameo app to me. And so I started doing them, and it just kind of grew into this thing. I mean, I'm really cheap. I'm $99. I think it's in US dollars. And oh my God, I've broken up with people. I've asked people to get married.
People ask you to break up with their partner?
Elle James, you have no idea the shit. I have done 4,500 cameos.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've done 4,500. And I actually have 3 or 4 in the queue. So I do them every day.
Wow.
And they're fun, but thanks for bringing it up. I want to ask you about your kids a little bit. What do they think about all this? Because, you know, kids are pretty sensitive. Their mom's on social media. Yeah, and she's a big star.
It's been a unique experience, that's for sure. You know, I kept content creation a secret for a very long time. I never told anybody. No, I never told my friends or my family or nobody.
You don't think they're going to stumble across it?
Well, I never thought I was going to grow that big. You know, I was just making like silly videos, and I didn't think anybody would like them. So I didn't think I had to. But then it grew. And then I made this one video about Shaq, and he reached out to me the next day.
This is not where I thought this was going.
Bitch, I'm stylish. Black top, big t-shirt, Billie Eilish.
Could you just imagine that coming at you? Just imagine you're lying there, like you're over in Shaq's big-ass bed that he had custom made because it's just a gargantuan man, right? And just tiny little you is lying there, and he comes out of the bathroom and starts walking over to you like that. You're excited for sure, but you're also fucking terrified. Like, you know you're getting a hip replacement by like 30, 40 for sure. Do you stay? Do you stay? Or do you like run and hide somewhere? See if he catches you?
Anyway, so I make this post and it goes like very viral. Richard Jefferson shared it, and then that went even more viral. And then it went on to this basketball channel that had millions of followers, and it just kind of blew up overnight. And then Shaq DM'd me, and I'm looking at it and I'm going to the profile and trying to verify, is this actually him? Like, is this really, did Shaq just message me? And I look at the message and it says, do you stay? And I'm like, I'm not sure, Mr. Shaq, sir. Like, anyways, I was just like beyond
Did you
anything.
respond?
I did. That's what I said. I said, I'm not sure, Mr. Shaq, sir. Like, I didn't really think this was a real scenario. Anyways, and so he was so kind and messaged me back and forth. And then I said, what, like, you messaging me has just made me the coolest mom in the whole world. And he's like, oh, you have kids.
Even though it had to do with splitting me open.
Right.
And having hip replacements. My children do not understand that part of it, but everything else is cool.
Well, actually they do, because I've been like that my whole motherhood. We'll pull up to the school. I'm like, oh, that's a cute teacher over there. You should see if he can get him my number, see if he's single. Like, I just always razz them like that anyway. So, I mean, now I've always been weird. It was just now I was weird online for everybody else to see. So it wasn't really a surprise. But anyway, Shaq went back and forth with me and he sent me some videos for my kids. And then he's like,
Aww.
do your kids have laptops? And I'm like,
oh my God.
no. Like, why would my
Did he
kids
buy
have
them laptops?
He sent them 2 MacBooks. And
I knew it.
Yes, he did. He sent them their Shaq Macs. That's what they call them. And so
okay.
all of this has been it's been very interesting for the kids. I mean, they're embarrassed because, like, my son is just about 16 and his friends will like send my videos, where I'm like drooling over some hunk or saying something really embarrassing, and he's like, don't send me my mom's videos. But anyways, they are proud. They're embarrassed but also proud.
I like the fact that, women like you, I think, are opening a lot of doors to be able to be flirtatious, to express your sexuality, to express humor through, sensuality and kind of, that flirty, kind of hot, fun thing without feeling like, I think there's a lot of slut shaming. I'm just going to say that. And I think to see, like you said, you mentioned Clara, you mentioned the single mom saga, of women that are bringing so much fun and frivolity and playfulness to something that otherwise, not so many decades ago would really be perceived very differently than it is now. So you guys are all killing it in that department, because I love it. I mean, I'm not even a straight person, but I appreciate the playfulness and the hilarity of it.
I love it. I'm definitely thirsty person. I love men. I love the way they look. I love when they do things well. And the funny thing is that men have loved my channel. They have loved my channel because they love the way they feel when a woman is oogling them and thinking that they're gorgeous. And the funny thing is that when I switched to politics, it was the very same thing that they used to shame me and to say, like, you know what, go back to your stupid thirsty videos, go back to this, like, you're better at drooling over men, SLUT, this kind of thing. And I said, oh, so are you celibate? Like, do you need to be celibate to think about politics? Is that what's going on here? And it's just shut them up real quick, because it's the first thing they use. It's the first thing they used in the U.S. Election as well. Here we've got Donald Trump, that's, a convicted felon, somebody that has assaulted a woman, that has talked about, dating his own daughter. And then they try to slut shame Kamala for just sleeping with a man. And I just thought, wow, it's still 1960. They still go after the very same thing. Oh, she slept with a man. What a whore. It's like, okay, all right.
It is very difficult to understand the thinking.
It's whatever they can grab.
And I guess you can't dwell in that place. Like you said, you're enjoying this and you're having a lot of fun, and you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have a great time, enjoy creating your content, whether it's political, whether it's thirst trappy, whether it's a fucking makeup tutorial or a cooking segment. The funny thing is, Elle, is that any woman as a creator is going to receive the same kind of vitriol in a roundabout way if they are making lasagna.
So your song, Good Mother, became the anthem for Canada recently. Like, how was that for you? What did that feel like?
Well, Caitlin and Sarah were keeping me abreast. Do you know what's going on? I had no idea what was going on.
We all got so many followers. We were like, what's happening?
And I was so perplexed by it. And then I'm thinking, what is happening with the song? Thrown out with all the rusted, tangled goddamn miseries. So they grabbed the thrown out. It started with Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it started with a drag queen and a really talented singer named Dusty Quain. And it just went from there. So my For You page, I was just like, it was almost embarrassing. I thought I better join in on this trend. So I sang a version of Good Mother, but it was really exciting. I thought, what a great thing to be part of, to feel like I felt like a reborn. I felt like Kate Bush felt when running up that hill went viral on Stranger Things, or I just felt like, oh my God, this is what Kate Bush felt like.
I did a version of it too.
Just fantastic. I did, and thank God. I'm such an idiot. I didn't even really understand it until someone pointed out, no, they're throwing shit out, Jan. I'm like, okay, I've got it now. I finally understand. Because people were asking me about it. I'm going, I don't know. I don't know why they're using the song. I don't even get it. Yeah, and then I sort of clued in. But yeah, thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Listen, Elle James, you're conquering the world. I can't wait to see what you do next. And please stay happy. Please stay positive. I'm so glad that you got Shaq Max and that people are sending you money to keep doing shit. And I really, really hope that What the Elle gets some traction. Thank you very much for taking time out for us today. We appreciate it more than you know.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the Jann Arden podcast. I'm here with Caitlin and Sarah. Elle James. She's kicking ass and taking names, literally. The Shaq stuff, literally Shaquille O'Neal showing up in your DMs. Should I stay or should I run out of the room? That is hilarious. And but I'll tell you what, it is what millions and millions of women all over the world have asked themselves in kind of a weird way.
Yeah, like privately joked about with friends, especially sometimes, as I recall, because when she was telling the story, I was like, oh yeah, there have been a lot of photos of him that have gone viral when he's with a partner and the partner is particularly small. And I will just leave it at
and you
that.
think what happens here? I mean, women do think of that. I have my own Shaquille O'Neal story.
Oh.
Way back in the day, early 90s at the A&M lot, which used to be, it was like the Muppet Studio for a while. It was Charlie Chaplin's studio back in the day. It's a really, really famous spot on La Brea. And A&M Records was there for quite a few years. I'd probably think like 15 years it was there. Anyway, Shaquille O'Neal, I think he was doing music of some kind in the mid-90s, and he had a red BMW. It was like a beautiful car. It would be parked right in the middle of the inside of the building. So they would open up the gates for Shaquille. He didn't have to find no parking spot nowhere. And he drove his car in. And I saw him get out of this car. And he really is massive. The car had no back seats. So this modified BMW had 2 seats that took up the whole body of the car. So no back seats. The trunk kind of became where he was leaning back in these red, custom, beautiful leather, seats. And him getting out of that, it was just like a 2-door, but the door even had been modified so instead of even if it was a 2-door, the doors were welded out and then these other massive, the whole side of the car opened. And he just kept standing up. He just got out of that car and he started going up and standing up. And I just remember standing there and I bet you my mouth was literally hanging open. And he seemed really friendly with everybody. He was like talking to everybody and everyone seemed like they were in the Wizard of Oz. Like everyone was Oompa Loompas. You just felt very Oompa Loompa-ish around the guy. That's my Shaq story. I didn't think about his penis once, and I mean that. I didn't think about it. It didn't cross my mind.
Okay,
And
good.
that's all I have to say about that. I probably should have, but I didn't.
Jan, we're both dying to hear about Jane Goodall. Please tell us about Jane Goodall. Our
And now
Patreon
it's a
only
new
Jans want to
topic.
know. Yes, please.
I spoke to Jane Goodall for the second time. I went into her dressing room, and she's 91 years old, and she was having little like crackers and little nuts and just going over what she was going to do for the evening. But still being in her presence is just like, I sat down on a couch beside her and just said,
Remind
we're
us
going
what
to have a great time.
the event is for those who
She
don't remember.
she really is celebrating the Roots and Shoots program that she does. She's talking about obviously the environment. She's inspiring people about hope. Obviously, we're living in times where we have very right wing parties that are literally telling us we're going to dig more, we're going to start coal mining, we're going to, break the crust in the bottom of the ocean, we're going to mine gold or whatever precious metals off the fucking moon. There's some really unhinged ideas out there.
Right.
Obviously, the thought of drilling into the moon and breaking up a moon that's responsible for our gravitational pull, human life would not exist without our little moon going. Like, there's people just doing reckless things. And she's out there talking about that. And she's talking about,
Did she say anything about Katy Perry being sent to space, or
it hadn't happened yet.
We need to talk. Well, I'm putting a pin in that. We need to talk about this Blue Origin flight from hell. Anyways, back to Jane.
Maybe the Blue Origin flight from hell could be part of the Patreon, but we can certainly speak about it today.
Yeah.
We might be running a bit long, but anyways, Jane was, it's amazing being in a room with someone with an energy that is otherworldly. The way people respond to her, the requests they get for people to meet Jane, people that want to give things to her, they want to talk to her, they just want to be around her. I would say it's almost like a religious experience in a way.
Yeah.
I would liken it to what Confucius or Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or any of the prophets had, because they're peaceful warriors. You don't see her running around swearing or doing things or being aggressive. She's a peaceful warrior. She's like Gandhi. She speaks through sensibility. She speaks through integrity and intelligence. And she's willing to sit down at a table, whether it's Trump or what. She spoke to Trump a little bit, how dangerous he was, how dangerous those kinds of politics were. And, when you have a person that is, climate change be damned, and we know how real it is. And when you literally have men that are saying it's not real, she spoke to that. The crowd went wild. They clapped. She's definitely not siding with that kind of thinking.
Does he respond to her? Like, did she talk about his response?
I don't think I think she's just a fly on the wall to him. Yeah. Anyone environmental, whether she's one of the most special humans really of our century. She's been alive as long as all of us have. I don't know a world without Jane Goodall and her advocacy. The things she's done for animal testing, chimp tents. Imagine testing on an animal so smart in a cage and doing the things that they do to them. We should be ashamed of ourselves as a species. We are.
And a good reminder, it's Earth Month.
It is literally hell what people are doing. And she spoke about eating plants. She spoke about being vegan. It was really important to me. And it is just something that has to happen. 70% of the land on this planet is being used for animal agriculture, and it's not food that we're eating. It's ridiculous. And it's cruel. And now they're building 30-story buildings in China. They have them operating already that are pigs in there. Ugh. Suffering. Pork is so huge in China. And they're building 30-story buildings. They don't see sunlight. They don't see anything. They're in gestation crates, and they're just churning it out like fucking, what do you think you're making, socks? It's fucking disgusting. And you people should be in fucking jail, period. So anyway,
is that what
that's
Jane
all
says? She like on
but this
stage,
is what
like,
I mean. She would never, but I'm not Jane Goodall.
Yeah,
and I never will be. I'll never
That's
be
your
anywhere.
brand.
This is me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Jane is the last of her kind.
Yeah.
And I asked her about, would you be able to go to Gombe now with binoculars around your neck and a pair of shorts and a notebook and sit on the hills and study an animal? She goes, never. Would never happen. You'd be kidnapped. You'd be whatever.
Gives you a lot to think about.
You'd be very unsafe. You couldn't wander around with men. You couldn't do it. And she was there with her mom for the first part and a cook and very little money. They had enough money for 6 months and they didn't take her seriously. They just laughed at her stuff. And then she went back and she got a degree in animal behavior and was sort of taken a little more seriously. But I asked her about mortality. I asked her about, what happens? Do you think about dying? And she said, well, there's either nothing or there's something very, very extraordinary. And I happen to think there's something very, very extraordinary. And so she's going to keep going until she dies. She travels 300 days a year.
That's crazy.
That's
to me.
Insane. That's more than a touring musician. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were in our text group and I was asking Jan how it went. And you were like, she is 91 years old and she's on the road more than you are. And you're on the road a ton. Yeah. And I'm never on the road and I never want to be. So
we're
I don't have
just reading the text.
I'm tired from going to Vancouver and back.
I'm tired from scrolling. Like truly Jane is then the last of her kind.
She's the last of them. And she's very, I said, is the roots and shoots. She goes, that's the most important thing to me. And it's programs for young people. There's 75 chapters, I believe, all over the world. And it's, children of all ages, but young adults as well. And they do projects in sort of it's a trifecta, basically. A project that would involve human beings, a project that would involve animals, and a project that would involve the environment. And they work on 3 sort of together. And, they're always looking for money. Obviously, those events that Jane are doing is to raise money for the Jane Goodall Foundation and hence the Roots and Shoots programs.
We'll put a link in the show notes if anyone wants to check it out.
It's a great name. It's such a great name.
Yeah. I feel like we should not end on that note. That was a little bit sad, but spring is coming.
Spring is coming. Listen, Jane Goodall is the most
Roots and Shoots.
Yeah, Jane Goodall is the most hopeful person in the world. I mean, she had to look at dire things, but she is optimistic. She believes in people. She believes in young people. Yeah. She believes in hope is a verb. It's an action word. Hope is not an idea that is a dormant thing that you think is going to fucking appear like a rabbit out of a hat. Hope requires skill, ideas. Anyway, spring is here. It's not here, guys, but you go ahead and you talk about spring all you want.
It's coming.
I agree that spring has been playing hard to get. Like we've had snow here in Toronto, and then 2 days later it's like 15 degrees and we're like, oh, is it here? And then the next day it's cold again. But I think, we look ahead. I wanted to ask you guys, what are your favorite things that you do? Spring is there when
I start seeing little buds, little leaves coming out on the trees here, and it happens in about 4 or 5 days. You just see these little green sticky, the little sticky wicky things.
That's when I'm sneezing. Yeah.
All of a sudden it just starts coming out. There ain't none of that. Trust me. I go around the yard and I touch the little things and I'm like, no, they're not sticky yet. There's nothing happening. No, they're not even coming out.
In your Crocs in sport mode, just doing a sticky check?
I'm in sport mode Crocs and I've probably got red shorts on with holes in the ass and my bucket of seeds. Janny Appleseed.
You also told us that you have like a problem, like a power washing addiction. Is it power wash season yet?
I'm really careful. I mean, I wish I could be.
You have your own power washer? Wait.
Yes.
Jan?
Where have you been? You were here when she talked about this last year.
I don't know. I've probably blacked it out. It's all lost along with the rest of my gray matter.
2 power washers.
I've gone through a couple. I wear them out. But I have to be careful. I will do 15 or 20 minutes. I'm on a well. So it's not like, and I'm really conscious of water use. So as much as you picture me out there just going hell bent for leather, I am very mindful. So I have to be quick. I'm like one of those people that pulls the car into those car washes that you can put a toonie in. Like I have been known to wash my entire car and rinse it for $4. That's how fast I go. Then I think I'm saving water too. Soap, suds. I hit the button. I switch it into rinse mode and I am out of there.
Car washing is a big one. Love going through. Although I hate the line waiting for the car wash because the sun's out on the first day and you've got like the lineup around the block and you're like,
Yep.
come on.
So you're going to the one where it goes through on like you stay in the car?
I go to the one that stay in the car, but Jan does it herself.
I get
She's
in
an
there.
OG.
Yeah, I get
Jan
the
does
wand
it.
out. I do.
I go to the one where you get out of the car and it goes through, and
I've
you
done
can
that too.
you
I
can
do
watch
that
it
a couple
because
times a year.
Will get scared in the one where you stay sat in the car, and usually we're all together.
Stevie.
So Sarah's child also does this, and so we will go to the car wash where you watch the car go through the little conveyor belt. He loves watching that part, and then they take it around and kind of detail the inside. But I watch them take out the mats, the winter mats, and I'm
that's a good sign.
Oh, and I'm a cleaning person. I love cleaning so much. It's like a weird kink. And I watch them take out these like salt and mud covered winter mats
does
and
feel
power
good.
wash them. I nearly like gave them a standing ovation when they were done. Like, I feel like Kyle was like, "Are you okay?" I was like,
In my world, they're about to be covered with like soot from baseball season. So it's like, it's a toss up in that sense. But I always look forward to taking my golf clubs and my baseball gear out of storage and I just leave them in my trunk for the entire season now.
You're Kyle, because Kyle starts. This is the season when the golf clubs start to live in the back of our car, and I can just hear them rattling around in the trunk. And I'm like, unless you are going golfing today, get those things out of there because the sound is driving me crazy.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to lug those things in and out of storage? Kyle and I deserve
No,
to
I don't.
just
It's
leave
none of my
them in the
business.
trunk. It's a lot of
I
work.
never have my clubs in my car. They're just sitting in the garage. I put them in when I need them, and I take them out when I don't need them.
When do the golf courses open generally?
Probably in the next couple of weeks. There's
okay.
I mean, they've just been screwed this year. There's some that tried to
Too
open
much
2 weeks
snow.
ago, and they've just been fucked because
We got
it
ours
snows.
open. We got
Yeah.
ours open. They're just like, I mean, they're
you
not
guys are
open.
so much further south than us. Like
Yeah.
you got to
Oh my
picture
gosh,
where
yeah.
you are. You are probably 300 miles more south than like Calgary is. It's just not happening here.
Did you get your winters off yet or not yet? It's 2.
I have all season radials.
Okay, right.
But I'm telling you, I was told to get my tires changed. So that's what they told me the last time that I was in.
Yeah.
My what I would go like twice a year for little tune-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
They're just like, you need to change your tires. And if I do change my tires, which I have to in the next 3 weeks, I know where I'm
Fountain
going.
tire.
I know where I know. But it's funny that they said that to me, and I was just like, no, I already know where I'm going to get my tires, and I'll be going to Fountain Tires because they have a sale on.
You're
But
like,
the guy
little do
was
you
so
know.
disappointed. He just thought I was going to sign off because it's where I lease my car, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And he wasn't. When I said I'm actually going somewhere else, he goes, "Can I ask where you're going?" I said, I'm going to Fountain Tire."
You're like,
He
I
goes,
have a tire sponsor. Excuse me.
No, I said that, but he goes, "That's fair." He goes, "That's fair." I'm like, "Thank you, bye."
Bye. By the way, think about sponsoring the Jann Arden podcast.
But it's
Yeah,
so
exactly.
much more. It's so much. It's way less expensive to go to
Yes.
Fountain, and they do have a sale right now. And this
they-
isn't even part of like the ads. We're not even throwing you an ad right now. This is
No.
real life, folks. This is real life.
Real life. And they, as we always talk about in the ads, they literally just specialize in your vehicle and tires. They're not trying to upsell you. They don't want you to get new tires if you don't need them.
Exactly.
So save the date. We're giving you an early heads up on this sale. April 28th to June 14th, 20% off select tires plus $120 off a set of Goodyear tires with a mail-in rebate. And if you do buy select tires, they're giving you $50 off any service of $150 or more.
I'm doing it all.
We'll put
Is
the
there an
details.
additional discount for non-drivers who just want to feel included?
Okay, wait. How's
You
it going
can
with
go
your
in
license?
and probably get a complimentary drink.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
How's it going with the license situation? You have to
It's
update
not
us.
doing anything.
Oh,
I've had my G1 and I need to book driving classes, but
Okay.
I like, you know, my illness record in the winter, and it just felt very like out of reach. And
yeah.
also I didn't know if I really wanted to be doing it in the winter, because have you seen some of those cars that they use for the driving schools?
No.
Speaking
I
of
have.
tires,
I get stuck behind them a lot in my neighborhood.
a balder tire or a smaller seaworthy car I have never seen. Like these
Yeah.
cars are just, I'm like, how is this on the road? So I'm going to go now that it's summertime and I feel like I'm more inclined to, I don't know, go
If
outside.
you need me to take you for a spin, I am happy to.
I would
Caitlin,
never
just-
subject you to that.
Okay.
But
Like-
you know, a lot of these guys want to give you, it's mansplaining. They're giving you way too much info. Like, I didn't
can't.
know what I was looking at. I'm like, I still see fucking
Yeah.
treads, dude.
They like do they get like a little ruler and go in and be like,
I have
see?
no idea what I was looking at.
Truly
They're
not our
the
business.
experts. They're the experts. We leave that to them.
Okay.
We just show up. So I did ask on Patreon what else people were excited about for
I
spring
want to
and
know.
how you know it's spring. And we also got a couple voice notes that I have ready to go
Oh
here.
my God. What a day this is.
So let's read some comments. Okay. Heidi McGaw says cleaning out seasonal flower pots. I love that.
Mhm.
Janine says windows down, sunroof open, singing at the top of my lungs. Hopefully Jann Arden.
Oh.
Yes.
Jann Arden.
Mixtape out now.
Debbie says, you know, spring is here when you notice all the work around the house and property that needs to be done. You can relax and enjoy the outdoors. I'm feeling my 69 years, so I make sensible lists in priority, promising myself not to go ape shit and then suffer physical consequences. I better still
I
burn
hear you,
those.
girl.
Better still burn those lists. Do what you can. Take long nature hikes and enjoy the season. Who cares if your grass is a little too long or your house is a mess? Life is precious. I like that. I
Yep.
like that. When all the shoes are at the front door, right? Like, especially with the Canadian climate, you know, you maybe need mucklucks and sandals and flip flops all in the same week, rubber boots, golf shoes.
What's a muckluck?
So
It's
the
an indigenous leather sandal.
Oh, okay.
It's like it looks, they're the most comfortable things in
Like
the
a
world.
moccasin, like a slip-on kind of like driving shoe?
muckluck definition. I don't want to get it wrong. Let's see. A high, soft boot worn in the Arctic and traditionally made from sealskin.
Oh, cozy. Okay.
Sorry, Jen.
Sorry, Jan.
What a great word, mukluk.
That's why it stood out to me. I was like, I like saying this.
I remember that word from being a child, from being a little girl, mukluk. It's great. What a great language.
Would you like to hear some voice notes?
Yes, please.
You know, if I don't hear voice notes every week, I actually leave here a little bit depressed.
Well, then here. This one's all about joy. Here we go.
Oh.
Hi, Jan, Caitlin, and Sarah. I'm so excited to leave this message. My name's Joy, and I'm from Ontario, and I've been listening to the podcast right from the beginning. Jan, I've followed your music career and loved it from day one. Caitlin, I've been following you for a while since you were on the radio. And Sarah, you've opened up a whole new world to me on women in media. It's quite interesting. I just wanted to call. I just finished listening to last week's podcast, and I'm a little bit of a Bravo girl, just like Caitlin. And I am so excited to hear that you guys are interviewing Carl Radke. Anyhow, thanks, ladies. Keep up the great work. Love it. Take care.
Thank you, Joy. Carl was amazing. If you haven't had a chance
Cool.
to listen to the Summer House star, Carl Radke, and his amazing journey, you can go onto any of your streamers and go back and listen to that episode. He was really great. He was very vulnerable, very real about his stuff.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one.
Hello there. This is Tracy sending you a voice note from north of Toronto. I live on a farm with some horses, and I just wanted to say I love the podcast, and I relate to a lot of things that you say, Jan, because I'm also single, no kids. I live out in the middle of nowhere here on my farm, and I just turned 60. And I appreciate the things that you say, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only one. I also wanted to give a shout out to Sarah, because you inspired me to buy a ticket to a concert. I'm someone that goes to lots of concerts all the time, but I find as I've gotten older, I don't have as many friends that like the same kind of music as I do. And I've often wanted to go to a concert, but I didn't, because I didn't want to go by myself. But there was an episode a while ago now where you had mentioned how you go to concerts by yourself all the time. So it sort of gave me the inspiration to be braver and not such a chicken shit. And I bought a ticket to go see AWOL Nation. And if you're not doing anything, you're welcome to come with me. Thanks again for everything, ladies. Love the podcast.
Thank you. That's
Never
really
be afraid.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, we got one more. Now,
Okay.
this one, it's very heartwarming, but different vibe. Here we go.
Okay.
Hi, Jan, Caitlin, and Sarah. I'm Yvonne, proudly aged 61, and married almost 38 of those years. We live in rural southwestern Ontario. I'm a retired literacy program coordinator, and my husband and I sharecrop our farm. A while ago, I saw your post about cancer, and I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this with people you care about. It was weird when I saw the post because I've been psyching myself up to send a voicemail about that very thing. I want to say thank you to all three of you because you got me through the worst time in my life. My husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and we found out after surgery that it had spread. He's had radiation and hormone treatments, and we hope we're through the worst now. I was used to walking with my husband, but he wasn't up to it, so I took you guys with me. You're a great company and a good distraction. You made me laugh and think about normal life events. And I was out getting exercise, walking beside the river, watching the birds, and taking care of myself. People always asked how they could help, and I never knew what to say. It's really hard to ask for what you need for some reason. But in spite of that, we had a lot of help from friends and family. Our two sons were a big support. My husband is a very strong and otherwise healthy man, so we put our focus there. Treatment is ongoing, so this is a journey, not a destination, but I believe all will be well. I've learned a lot about having patience. Thank you again for all the hard work you put into your podcast. I want you to know what a positive impact it has had on my life, as I don't know how I would have made it through the last year without you. Love to all.
I know. I'm like, Yvonne, you're making me cry. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
She's like, I mean, literacy teacher, storyteller.
Look at us,
like,
Caitlin. Like, we're
I know.
clearly.
I'm a mess.
I know.
I cry at the drop of a hat, to be totally honest, which
Tears
is a
in my
surprise
eyes.
to many
It's-
people.
We're hormonal.
But it's like, it is important to fill your heart, your mind, your time with distractions. You can't be hyper focused on someone who's going through that, and nor do they want you to be. Thank you so much for your message. It was lovely, and it reminds me to be, to keep my focus on positive things and to be distracted and do things that I like to do. Because yes, my friend Lisa, she has her huge consult today. She's very, very scared. And she's been waiting. She was diagnosed in January, but there's so much pathology. We're a little backed up here in Alberta, as we are across the country, but they're doing the best they can. And Lisa said, I don't know if I will talk to you guys today. She goes, you might not hear from me for a couple of days. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I said, I'll be here whenever you want to call me or whatever. So
I like that
Yvonne
heads
for
up
that
because
reminder.
she's protecting her time to like
she doesn't know what she'll want to say. So it's Yvonne, that means the world, and keep taking us with you. We'll always
there
have
with you.
we will run the gamut of things that we talk about. I've sworn a fair amount today, but we're going to leave it there. That was a really, really great note to leave on. We want to thank all our Patreon members. We are slowly climbing up there. My goal is to get us up to 1,000 of my beloved only Jans. And Caitlin and Sarah and I just appreciate you more than you know. It does cost money, and it's a lot of work to put this content together week after week. And what your little gift does for us every month is it really helps us to make this possible. And obviously, we just want to keep growing. We have some live events that are going to be coming up this year. We're going to talk more about that in the next few weeks. But you can download us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be on there. It's kind of fun to look at our expressions and how great we look all the time. I usually look like I've been mining for potatoes, but I'm very conscious of not picking my nose and stuff. Back in the old day, I could do that kind of thing, but now can't get away with it. So thank you to all our Only Jans. And if you're not a Patreon member, $5 a month or $7 a month to be part of our book bag, our monthly book club, which is really fun. We do an event once a month where we just do a big Zoom call, and we have a whole bunch of us that just get on there. You can participate if you want. You can ask a question, make a comment if you want, or you can just sit and watch. You can sit and hang out and listen to about a book that we've got.
What are we talking about
on
Patreon today?
Blue Origin
Patreon
flight from
today,
hell.
We're going to talk about the flight from hell. We're going to talk about, have we set women back 300 years, or what have we done here? And does Katy Perry just keep getting more annoying? And, maybe there's some of you that really enjoyed what went on. I'm not one of those people.
I'd love to hear from all one of you if that's the case.
Anyway, so that's
And
what
the
we're going to
sex
be talking
thing. What's
about
the
in
sex
Patreon.
thing we have too?
Succession. You know the show Succession. Well, this is sex session.
This is a sex session. So this is like there's been this longstanding concept in economics that there are varying cultural recession indicators. So we're wondering if there perhaps is a sexual one happening currently.
More
I
on
couldn't
that.
have any less
Coming
sex
up.
than I already do, so I don't know how this is going to affect my life. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Jann Arden podcast. We appreciate you, Caitlin Green, Sarah Burke, as usual. I'm very, very happy to be working with these girls week after week. We'll see you next time. Look after yourselves. Toodly-doo.